Welcome to the lovely HP community and the 5D collective. To those on YouTube, we're going to continue our conversation on the elite tier of emotional invincibility people. We have mental, emotion, physical mastery, and we're going to do storytelling. For those of you who are listeners on the audio HP platforms, I am choosing not to share with you the first episode of the day because I made a it's not a typo. I spoke words that I had to add a sub whatever you call it. So I forget my words right now. I had to add something in writing, and for those who are listeners, you won't see it, and therefore I don't want you to be misunderstanding. Although I believe that those who do know how to listen would understand what I was trying to say, but for purposes of avoiding all of it, since the message is important about the emotional body being connected, I'm choosing to do number 2, storytelling, and to mention it for my audio listeners. Okay, so if you do watch the other episode, it's great. If you don't, it's okay, because we're going to repeat some of the message that was there, and then we're also going to look a little bit more at the deer. And so in the first one, the long one, because we have a couple shorts for the short attention span group who just want the gist of things. Our golden egg continues. This is an open-hearted person, securely attached, self-led, mystics, spiritual, mindful, living, loving people. We are the elite tier of emotional invincibility, and although the Grammarly wants to correct it to has emotional, mental, and physical mastery, I left have because it's people. Okay? And the ones who are not elite tiers of anything, they don't know how to go to therapy. No, they don't want to. So the reason I'm using the coined phrase is because when you hear anybody trying to act like a fancy asshole and they don't even hear themselves speak, you just think, wow, everyone has emotions. Don't you know about the integrated brain? Don't you know how to downregulate your default mode network yet? Did you not get back to your first year of life? Because these are the thoughts that I'm wondering when I hear somebody say things like this as they're educating people, yeah, but they're not noticing that they don't have emotional invincibility. I would think that if you're going to be dressed up in a fancy suit and acting like you know shit, that you're going to become that which is a solid foundation who no matter how many times you shake it, shake, you know how to navigate your ventral energy. You don't know how to do that yet? Ego, what's up? Don't you have a challenge for yourself? I don't see you being a challenger. I see you being a very interesting human being who is a voice for the ones who won't be challenging themselves to get anywhere, because that's exactly who the fancy lady man in suit that I make fun of are there for my fearful brothers and sisters who don't want this, because that's the very moment they have a story for themselves. So let me share with you what this man says, because secure people, he says, they aren't immune to anxiety. I'm laughing because of a reason. So he says, honesty met with evasion, warmth answered with coldness, emotional bids are ignored, that at that point a person would become doubtful. And I'm like, no. So he says, because secure people aren't immune to anxiety. And last night I told you, yeah, panic attacks, great. Not because of people. And even if it were, differentiation resolved it all and continues to resolve it, because I can calibrate my nervous system. So if I'm going to actually present to you the challenge is I'm a mindfulness practitioner with inner growth mindset, and I have mindset skills. You don't have to do it. The words don't matter. It's the physiological state. Now, I know you stress, and I know the difference because I got my own body out of that, which was the waves that Tara Brach talks about. So I don't use an amygdala and a non-integrated brain. I use an integrated brain, which is differentiated, which is a prefrontal cortex, which is why any of my cherishable beliefs could be falsifiable, which is also why I'm woo pseudoscience lady, but it's also why there's no Lucifer. Neuroscience proves it, and yoga doesn't bring demons out of you. Your muscles, bones, and tissues store trauma, and when people are dorsal vagal sympathetic, they're going to get sluggish and tired because they don't know how to use their brain, and they're going to think that they're not some elite tier of emotional invincibility. They just start with a solid foundation, but when that foundation is shaken repeatedly, when they're left to questioning where they stand day after day, they begin to spiral. That's how avoidant behavior manufactures anxiety, not in a malicious way, not in a planned way, but as a consequence of emotional self-protection. Now, let me think, because these same people think that polyamory women Man, days, we're whores. We don't know integrity. Apparently, those of us with pronouns, I use he, she. No, I use the she one, but I'm just saying they take all of those of us who get defined in a little group, right? Okay, I'm just going to point it all out. I don't do the whole group thing, but if I need to do the group, I'm going to say, I know what integrity stands for. I'm not somebody who thinks of emotional self-protection as something not possible to work with, and I don't create episodes to allow myself to make a whole story. And also, if you're not securely attached, really, you shouldn't be talking about those of us who are securely attached. That's why I'm here. I'm a functional child adult. So when I see this, again, I'm like, ooh, there's my muse for today. And then we have themes because, again, the tarantula life, it don't hit you hard. It gives you nudges. If you're a phoenix rising from the ashes, you're a person who has the lion and the tiger because you have a deer, because you're vulnerable with yourself. So you don't do shame. You don't do the dark sides of neuroplasticity. You don't do blame, fault, revenge. You don't do adaptive child behavior. You don't do inner outer critic, and you don't create a little story for yourself where you can stay hooked on drama. So you don't do what instead people will enjoy with this type of content, or the other lady who are performing still for love. As the meantime, I know an avoidant on screen who doesn't do mindfulness, meditation, journaling, or therapy because, well, everyone's fucked up, so why bother? Or the ones who say, well, Maria, how dare you? Don't you know the Zen Master? There's laundry inside of you. No, there's not, Zen Master. Unless this life, this very existence, it's suffering. Yeah, no, ignorance, hatred, greed, don't got it. I got intellect and an intelligent mind because I'm not influenced by Maria's implicit or explicit memory, and I'm not deluded by my imagination. Thanks, Sadhguru. So if you have a challenger, it's because you got a securely attached, highly self-led, emotionally, mentally, physically master human being, mystic or not. Now you got Dr. Daniel Siegel, Basil Vanderhoek, Peter Levine. You got some smart individuals in the room. You got a Patrick Tan who's working with all the children. You got Dr. Daniel Fox. Those are intelligent, compassionate human beings. And there you got God. You got Jesus and Holy Spirit, and not some medieval time scripture who is still using promiscuity with the word Lucifer, or talking about Reiki or tarot or mystics as someone and a group, a bunch of people that are bad. People who need to use words like this, they're dressing it up. I don't dress it up. I like to be genuine, authentic, and down to earth. So when I hear people using words, I'm going to hear their tone. I'm going to notice. I'm going to then continue with the message, and you'll know a storyteller from the ones who are offering value, because the storytellers are for the other ones. It's called Wendy's with their Peter Pans and Lost Boys. They need each other. They'll follow each other around. I don't need to call it a cult because it's a pathology. A pathology, you know what Diego does? No, Diego hangs out with Manny and Sid because he learns what it means to be in a real herd. His family, on the other hand, they are the same ones that, as Patrick Chan points out, pass on not only transgenerational trauma and ask their children punishing questions and get on screen and think they're actually giving value to people who are manipulable. And that's why destructive mode, Sadhguru, not all humans, only the idiots. And the idiots think they're brilliant, which is why they're blinded to their own safety behaviors, which is why we won't go pointing it out. Thanks, facade friend. So when I meet idiots, my facade friend, he's a clown. I don't do anything about it thanks to him. And here's Patrick Tiahan's reframe. Yesterday he shares, your parents did the best they could at avoiding the responsibility and emotional labor of their job. And I had a reframe, and I said, in addition to parents avoiding the responsibility and emotional labor of their job, there are numerous people who are not securely attached or healing themselves with a good therapist that are avoiding their job and emotional labor. As people in a world with children, some want children and they bring them into the beingness, at least the ones who are responsible know, okay, we're going to look at therapy. We're going to know that we're going to have not perfection, and we're going to try not be anxious about it. And so there's a way that Manny, Diego, and Sid work together with Patrick Tan, with the good therapist, with everyone. And securely attached, non-traumatized people are very grateful for that, because we know that they're brave, boys and girls, all of us. As functional child adults, we don't do, I'm a healer, how dare you trauma dump. That's not how it works. As Dr. Daniel Fox presents, we all can have people that are getting earned secure attachment fall back on their inner outer critic, on their maladaptive patterns, drinking, drugging, fucking. Depends where they come from. People with PTSD, there's a time, there's a place, but this is where with Pat Ogden, sensory motor, EMDR, child parts work, not by themselves, because by yourself, you are only as strong as you can hold yourself accountable. When the tarantula comes around, it doesn't come around life to hit you hard. It comes softly. How many nudges do you need? If you need nudges to the point of where Pinocchio, you fall down flat on your face, that's not cool. That's also unnecessary. And so, one, remember also, we don't heal trauma with unhealthy self-soothing, unhealthy self-worth people. You don't heal trauma with the ego's family. And there's a bunch of 3D, 4D collective out there, I won't even go there, that are completely avoiding going to get themselves healed. They are between mystics to spiritual to mindful people. And they're all in the low frequency of fear because they're modulated, dysregulated body. But it doesn't matter what I say, and it doesn't matter that they don't move into their higher potential, because their body at a certain point will stop screaming bloody murder, and they will have what they have chosen. And there's a saying, I believe it's the one from the Essene Gospels, that which you will not bring forth, that which you do not heal of trauma, unfortunately, is going to not do really great. But again, people who don't want to go heal, it's because they don't want to connect their emotional body. I'm not laughing because I'm funny. I'm thinking of the person, because when honesty is met with evasion and warmth with coldness, you know what I've done? Nothing except for state my thoughts, and that's only in the occasions where I didn't know about attachment trauma. Now that I do, I don't state anything, because I watch you walk and I watch you talk, and I know that I'm not going to force anyone to open their heart, because you are the one who's opening it towards yourself or not. And an avoidant on screen who tells me how everyone's fucked up as an excuse to not do work, and then other avoidants who think that we're going to spiral down. Yeah, you don't know secure attachment. You don't know self-led. If you did, you'd know we are emotionally invincible, because emotions aren't hard, because our emotional body is connected, not disconnected. So my fear, my anger, and my sadness don't overwhelm my brain, my mind, or myself. My surprise, disgust, and my happiness don't overwhelm me. And when someone brings to me anything that makes Maria cry, I have a 1-year-old. She's great, thanks to me being a 3-year-old, a 7-year-old, and an 11-year-old who said, I'm not going to play mean to be pretending. I'm vulnerable. It's not going to break me. It's a muscle. Why would I close my heart when you're being mean? I don't want to be mean. I'm asking you to be kind. And no, you don't prove intent. So you don't say, I will not be the child version open-heartedness of me, because people don't know how to be this inside of themselves. And that's why it's very nice to be in our lovely 5D collective. So we are elite. Yes, if that's the word they want to use. I mean, again, I'm playing with words, but I'm invincible with emotions. They are actually not breakable. And somatic therapist informed me they're called angry Buddhists. I'm not a Buddhist. I'm a Christian Catholic, and I'm not welcomed by all, but you better bet it's thanks to Jesus that I don't suffer. And those who think that all of life is suffering, and you try to explain to them how it works, what I can tell you is some of us have really good alleles, or whatever the word is. It must be my genes. I got lucky. Gary V, I got lucky, man. Not that you watch my content, but I watch yours. So I actually enjoy telling people, yes, I got lucky. And then I enjoy meeting empowered women and men who say, no, you consciously chose every single step of the way. And I say, yes, thank you for being the one person or the two or the three that acknowledge it. It's great to have empowered women, men, and theys around, because you better bet that all the other ones think that we can't be happy all the time. I just don't bother telling them, wow, you want me to be sad? That's really a bummer. I guess I shouldn't trust you, should I? No, I don't say that, because really all that's coming out is an exile protector, some shit going down in there, and I don't want to. Well, I don't want to be held back, masculine, so I'm an empowered feminine. I learned how to withdraw and be quiet, and I don't want to be pushy or demanding, because you really don't appreciate my very, very, very genuine nature with integrity. Yes, what other people say about me doesn't matter. This is Maria. I'm a 3-year-old. So when people don't want us around, we know, thank you, Oversoul. I love you, man. Love you, women. All of you. So again, this is what I have to say as an empowered feminine. No one has tragedy. Oh, I'll never forget those beautiful, beautiful moments. I cherish them. And I'm thinking about this one thing that happened this one time. And, I didn't even think about it. I didn't even think about thinking, like, really, like, it could have been a little bit different, so I'm not going to tell you the secret. I'm just going to allow myself to talk to it, and then maybe I'll come back in a different way. Okay, so the elite tier of emotion invincibility people have mental, emotion, physical mastery because, again, we are all of our child parts. They're asleep when they come up. We work with them. So, FYI, again, Mystic Mentor, Content Creator, Podcast Host, be yourself with your mindfulness and integrity. As the lion, you're a complete master of your self-transformation and the fire element. And I'm showing, if you're a listener, I'm showing a lion and a tiger right now because the tiger is going to come in a minute. So you pursue personal and spiritual growth. You do this with the epitome of peace and strength thanks to the tiger, and the tiger is representing that body, the mind, heart, self, anchored in ventral energy with an engaged ventral vagal state. Okay, so it's important that all these pieces are here because I'm an integrated brain. That's when you are that tiger. Because your ease in darkness, which means in awareness, so when I'm focusing attention in the darkness of awareness, I'm okay with working with my personality patterns and my one whole nervous system, as Dr. Daniel Siegel explained to me. And then I'm able to implement kind intention. And that's why mindfulness with the mindsight skills that he taught me the word, the mindsight lenses, I can see Maria's sensations, images, feelings, and thoughts. I can see all of Maria's 9 domains of integration, okay, because they're integrated. And there you go. So you can be with your emotional stuff and your mental stuff with ease because that's how we create resiliency. So your ease in darkness, your mastery over your feminine energy and the lunar force, your ability to think and feel with ease, compassion, discernment, and equanimity have you fearing nothing. That man in his fancy suit, he fears this shit. That's why he thinks we have a shaky. No, I don't have. The only shaky that I got is when I have to shake because, well, anyway, side note. So with this inner and emotional, with this inner emotional, and mental balance, you are passionate, strong, and soothed. So healthy self-soothing from within, and are using healthy self-soothing ways. The other thing that, by the way, gives away people is when they say things, even though there's a bunch of trending topics as well, but that avoidance are obsessed with secure, attached, getting one. That's every single human being will want one. It's not they're obsessed, it's that the body of yours has the capacity to be securely attached. The avoidant does it different than the ambivalent. The disorganized, poor disorganized, because they got both sets going on, and there you go. And so if they go get healed and get earned secure attachment, which is possible, thanks Dr. Daniel Siegel, they can get access to this and access to the invincibility of emotions when they're hanging out with healthy self-worth functioning child adults, because we'll say there's no reason for you to have shame, guilt, nope, none of that. You got healthy self-worth, don't you worry about a thing. I know integrity when I spot it, and I know authenticity, and then I know it when I don't. And I will be able to tell it to the securely attached, self-led people because they're going to be here knowing how to be already the functional inner child adult. Otherwise, they won't be here. Because again, Patrick Teahan teaches people how to love themselves first, and so does Terry Real. And once they've learned that, like Dr. Daniel Fox, they learn that they're meant to be around healthy self-worth, self-soothing people. Otherwise, you don't learn how to respect yourself for real. The minute isn't enough to be saluted. I didn't do anything wrong, and nobody can remotely out of the social time. I don't listen to people that are social time. They're not the therapists who are healed. Therapists who I've healed, I tell them all about the stories, and I do know exactly what a healthy self-worth human being is going to be. Thanks, Terry Real Man. So when someone says you're too serious, no, I'm not. When someone says, did you say, no, I didn't say anything. You said it wrong. And so when people come at you because you have integrity and you have healthy self-worth, you just remember that it's a function of child adult because my child didn't get broken. My mother taught me what to look for with bad-mannered grown-ups. And after that, well, she says sometimes she should have spanked me more. And I say, well, now it's too late. But even if you tried, I'm pretty sure you can't spank me. It's my body. And that's the part of where I am spiritual, remember? And I bring sciences. So like Sadhguru says, the body, the emotion, the mind is not here to serve the life. The life that is within you is not here to serve the body, emotions, and mind. It's the opposite. So when you do go from the land of mysticism and spirituality, as channelers, as downloaders, we're here to be the voice. And those of us who do know what the voice of God is and the voice of Akash and Source and Divinity, discerning, equanimous love. Why discerning? Wise, good judgment. Equanimous, common-centered, because God is not reactive unless you're talking to me about the Roman or Greek gods, which really, they're not the monotheistic God that's perfect. Now, put aside the ancient textbook that talked to you about fear-mongering shit. I'm saying the intelligence isn't stupid. Certainty of anger makes people stupid. That's why it's not humans, said Guru, that are destructive mode. It's only the half-brained adaptive child part person who think they're brilliant as they're telling us exactly who they are. And when they make their little dressing up even more fancier, they're not the elite of the emotional invincibility. Now I know, wow, you're even more fantastic, fantabulous, because you're using your words perfectly well. And that's why I don't really think of it as anything. Are we during the king and queen times? Anybody want to slap someone with a glove and basically, you dishonor me? I told one of my friends, I'm like, dude, are you done being so rigid? Like, what the fuck? Like, you do realize how old you are now. No, but they offended me. They offended my persona. Wow. Okay, you know what? That rigidity isn't going to get you anywhere. Do you want actually to teach your children that it's okay to be treated this way? Because I'm pretty sure as a parent, you wouldn't want to see one day as they get talked to this very exact manner. I'm pretty sure they still talk this way. So one day those girls will be talked to in a very specific way because that man. And so men and women, it's not just the women, it's not just the men, it's all. Let's all make sure to get a gentle touch, compassion. Everyone who's going to be here is going to, yeah, we want you stress. Because the only people are the same ones who we're okay. Don't be here because that's just, it's sad, but it's for Patrick Tiahan, material to handle, not for IHP. IHP is after, and then it's how we do it, Maria, and you say it's okay, at least to take care of your child parts. You're going to get to do unfinished business with material and stuff like that. So again, let's move back into our chit chat. With this inner emotional and mental balance, you're passionate, strong, and soothed from within, and are using healthy self-soothing ways. And therefore, the lion's self-mastery pursuits, let's get that lion out, and the tiger's ease and darkness are your ability to put into practice mindfulness with mindset skills and the inner growth mindset, which gives you access to the deer's feminine nurturing essence. This is your inner child with a functional adult. So imagine your own adult. I mean, I don't know how to have it separate. So I am only this, which is why it was really amazing, because see, you don't know about the spread necessarily if you didn't see the spread, but this is how the deer was, and or how she was decided to be put, and they're on the bottom, okay? And when I read to you the egg, the golden egg, obviously in that there was not expanding on every area, so I get called to areas. We looked at the starfish and the horse, for example, even though that one probably we'll revisit again at some other point, okay? But just think of vulnerability and think of your own inner child, but you as a functional adult. As Patrick Tan points out, when you have reparented, you won't feel guilty for standing up to that boss. You won't feel shame. If you do, you identify them and you hold that inner child by the hand. So by the time you're done projecting, it's not because it doesn't come up, the unkindness, you're aware of it, and you say with soft, gentle neutrality. Some people don't like to be compassionate with themselves, but with neutrality and gentleness, because otherwise you're not going to be able to. It's like a child who gets frustrated when they're tying their shoe. Or even for me, when I get irritable and frustrated, I don't do anything well, because that's my number one. I'm a perfectionist. I still get irritated at times, and I breathe. But until I'm all the way back to this, that certainty of anger has my body being just tired because it's anxious for no other reason. So it doesn't shake my foundation in a way of me, let me go pay attention to some other human being. No, I'm going to put myself at ease. In fact, here's where good exercises for all of you for relaxation. For ones, it's give yourself 30 minutes to do something you enjoy. So lately my exercises as my body and my back feel better. Or for eights, engage in a project you enjoy, which again I do. So both, as you can tell, for me. For the twos, take a walk, spend time alone. I spend time alone. I don't need to take a walk, but taking deep breaths in and out. That's very important to activate the ventral vagal, but also being aware of your child part and knowing there's no need for a hissy fit. There's wanting to get to this. So it's with ease and gloves that you treat yourself. If you can't do that, you're not going to achieve softness, which is why you're going to follow some fancy assholes in suits who only are starfish. They look good on the outside. They ain't looking good on the inside. They're not doing what they can, like the avoidant who says, I'm not doing mindfulness meditation or journaling. I don't know if the therapist didn't explain it correctly or if she simply doesn't give a shit about getting integrated because she doesn't actually understand. You feel like shit now, and no one's fucked up to the point of where you need to keep dragging some pain point around because your longing is healable here instead of you gnawing away because it's from your physiological state. Unlearning it is why EMDR, child parts work, and somatics, all the way until you get easy going and know how to do this. You contain sensations, images, behaviors, affects, meanings, as Peter Levine points out, but you don't just contain them. You actually proactively are able to say, I'm going to think and feel with more ease. I'm going to take my personality patterns, thanks Dr. Daniel Siegel, and work with my one nervous system. And I'm going to, this is why mentor one-to-one serves. Only the ones who can do mindsight, the ones who cannot physically, I know who they will be, and I will say, so who's our therapist that we get to work with? Yeah, no, because I know everything as an attachment trauma educated person, and here's the signs by basically giving you a questionnaire that I will know of. So we need earned secure attachment alongside what you want to do, and we want to make sure that we don't have any fragmented parts of self, because this is where Dr. Daniel Siegel, thank you so much, disorganized attachment. He shares with me in that course that we will notice, which I have plenty of experience because that's what happens when you are an empowered, securely attached, invincible, emotional person. I'm going to have to be teasing that man because really, invincible. I didn't realize how lack of invincible people felt. And if you do, then why aren't you going to the therapist? This is the part. And when people say, yeah, it's easy for you. Yes, I'm sorry for being securely attached and self-led and haven't had a child-centric environment. I don't know why you would want me to be sorry for using my mind and brain effectively. Don't you want to get here too? How about you go over the choo-choo train of the hump instead of hitting yourself or whatever the fuck you think you're doing in your brain with drama kings and queens all over shitty TV. Keep watching shitty TV, keep slouching and doing nothing more except for, again, sluggish, dorsal vagal sympathetic. Keep on pretending like you're doing great when you're a hypervigilant who's a doer, who's on a high rise. This is awful to see people think they're thriving. This man and woman, I know who they're holding the fort for. It's the cowards that don't go to Patrick Chan. And it's the same cowards who crap on his content. I don't crap on his content. But I'm already way beyond the whole forgiving. I don't have half-safe people. I got buffoons or I got not buffoons. There you go. I actually don't like to deal with incompetent people. Anger activators, it doesn't anger me anymore. I don't appreciate feeling unappreciated. I don't give a shit about that. I do not like being held back in any way. That is why God keeps chiming in to say, Maria, stop judging human suffering and wasting your fucking time. And I say, God, I'm getting it slowly. Don't you worry about a thing. I'm an Akashic record reader. So physical mastery is this when you're one with Akash. We all have a voice. Mine is unconditional love and empowered human voice right here. Empowered feminine. So yeah, we don't have no shit go on with twin flames or soulmates. No. Oh, I love my mystic stories. So again, the people who are not empowered, they go and follow some individuals who tell them many will be called, but few will be chosen. The matrix is trying to keep you separated from your twin flame. Is that how stupid the twin flame is? I don't. So here's the deal. I'm laughing right now because if you need me to explain to you what living well means, then I'm so sorry. Incompetent. I'm incompetent with math. I'm not incompetent with well-being. The therapist gave me a smart-ass attitude. They also humbled me to know why a bird with a broken wing will go into the cave with a cat. I'm not impressed by idiocy because brilliance of a destructive mode is not destructive. It's not brilliance. It's thanks, facade friend, for showing me all that I needed to share and show so I didn't get angry in anybody's face and act like a buffoon, because that's what an empowered feminine will feel like. Buffoon, when they're wasting their time trying to talk to anything that is really not there with them. You know how sad it is to actually give a very important conversation? My facade friend I'm talking about. So that's why I thank him, because I had the most amazing 2 days with him, and then 3 years down the line it meant shit. And so this was so like, but seeing his face meant he has no fucking idea. And then getting attachment trauma informed, I'm like, okay, now that makes a whole much. So sorry for my brothers and sisters. They're poor little exiles and protectors, just trying to protect them, and they just keep using them in this half-assed fucking way. What are we gonna do? Nothing. We can't do anything. They follow fancy assholes in suits. The starfish, they're really amazing stars, and they even think they got the horse, but they don't have the stamina of a horse. Have you ever seen a horse? Unless a human, unfortunately, takes that horse, right? But usually, animal kingdom, like the Lion King, his father, there's no human shit going on. So while humans like to bring in human traits, animals have a very specific circle of life. It's the circle of life, which is why I'm an animal lover, but I eat animals. I know the ecosystem. I'm an empowered feminine, always balances itself out. Again, the only humans who ignore ecology and the ecosystem are the same ones who don't know how to be gentle. They don't believe in compassion, and they in fact are not going to be in their brilliance because their destructive mode is completely unbrilliant. They will not notice it. It's okay. We will notice it. Robert Sapolsky determined, man, I love your book. I haven't read it yet, but I totally know what's going to happen too. So, in balance, you're loving, intuitive, graceful, receptive, compassionate, nurturing. And when you're out of balance, you're concerned and protective. I know all about that one because I'm an empowered feminine, remember? And so when I'm a worried, let me tell you about that. Hold on a minute. But through the lion and the tiger, thanks to all the masculines and dysregulated feminines out there, I got to practice this. And through the lion and the tiger, and to me choosing to keep my deer, the deer is able to maintain balance and pursue expansion when out of balance and rise from the da-da, da-da-da-da. Anybody ever watch those? There's a anime of some sort. I would watch it with my twin. What are they called in English? Because we would watch them in Italian. Anyways, there's the one who's the phoenix, but he's a bit of an asshole, but he's the phoenix. I can't remember the name of it. Anyways, we'll just leave that one for some other time. So rise from the ashes like a phoenix in this way, freeing yourself from the suffering of the temporal junction. The Zen master really could use mindfulness, but he doesn't have mindset skills because he thinks this life, this very existence, since he's a Buddhist, is suffering. I'm sorry, Buddha man, I don't sit under a tree. I do the walk and talk like Jesus did, and there are those who will say, you can't stop venting, you're not Buddha and Jesus. I'm like, well, I know Buddha helps with the ventrovagal toning exercises, and meditation helps integration, and so does mindfulness. So thanks, Buddhism. I love all of you, but again, Jesus Christ, he suffered for my sins, so I don't suffer. I use my prefrontal. And God, I follow God, even though not everybody who follows God uses, we all use a lot of different words. You know what I love about the newer generation is they all know this, and I keep forgetting. I need to remember the newer generation. I recently had the most amazing of conversations, and it was, wow, really? There's still people that are like that? I'm like, that's great that you said it that way. You know what? I need to remember that because, yeah, I'm 45. Maybe it's my old age. You know, that's probably what it is. So, again, forgive me, people that are younger. I forget that there's smart, brilliant, younger ones of you out there. I'm going to do my best to surround myself with all of you brilliants who are doing the phoenix with the deer, not the ones who go slapping each other around, watching each other's fucking back, venting like idiots, and doing drama kings and queens, and making up stories from their assholes because they don't know how to do what is called therapy. So when I see projection, it's, oh, did you see that bitch? She looked at me. Wow. I mean, really, you don't know if she looked at you. He looked at me. I know he did. Well, I mean, again, I look at places a lot. Don't look at me. I'm not an alcoholic. I know what they say about me. This is one of my friends. I'm like, I'm not looking at you like that. I was actually looking over you, but I can't prove that I was looking over you, and I didn't think anything about the alcoholic thing. But you do drink a lot. I mean, are you a functional alcoholic? No, I didn't say that. That's rude manners. And when people want to tell people what to do, those are martyrs, superiors. They need therapy. So in all people's equations, if you're self-empowered, securely attached, you don't do that. This is bad manners, okay? So rising from the ashes is because you're able to do you in the integrity way and not basically go and tell others. So this person finally, after the third time of repeating the same stuff to me, I'm not an alcoholic. I know what they say about me. I'm like, he is a functional alcoholic. There's no other way to put it. And in fact, one of the times I said, look, you are telling me that you think you're doing your family a favor. You do know cirrhosis of the liver, right? I said, I have had a family member. I'm just saying, no, I'm keeping my fam. That said, okay, look, you know, I don't want to get on your case about it, but please stop being illogical. Leave it alone. I'm not judging you because I don't have any possibility to do anything. Only the law does. And there you go. So, I mean, unless people learn moderation, we know what Pinocchio hits rock bottom. Did life hit him hard? Is it not sunshines and rainbows? It's not life. You actually got, let's get to the tarantula, shall we? So, Phoenix, freeing yourself from the suffering of the temporal junction as you move into using your prefrontal cortex with all that arises from the body. And we got also body, so vulnerability. Your body is at ease, sensations, images, behaviors, affects, meanings to the, we can use the mind, right? Self-mastery, okay? So now I'm able to not crap on me, not crap on you, not project. I have all of this beautiful knowledge, an intelligent mind, not influenced by my implicit, explicit bias. I have a heart, you have a heart, we all got a child part, okay? So rising from the ashes in a healthy way means you're using prefrontal, so you're not crapping on anything, and okay, you move out of karma and into dharma. So I'm using Maria's words, but I am that which comes from spiritual, adding sciences, my own spirituality story. Don't write down any notes. It ain't notes. I don't do it that way. The academics are very picky about biographies and bibliographies, and we know, and they serve a purpose, and I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. They're going to continue being their meticulousness. I'm completely not in that space, which I feel you did change. No, I got flexible, adaptive, and my point is that I'm here for the ones who want to be supported to be themselves. Self-help. I want to help people be happy in here. That's what I decided when I was 8. So people said, so you changed your mind about your job? No, not really. I actually committed to my 8-year-old. I didn't need it to have words. That's when someone also has a relationship with their inner child. So they know what I'm talking about because they understand we don't conform to people. Good boy, good girl, what are you doing? I didn't ask you for your criticism, your approval. You're not an actual subject matter expert because you're not with the peer reviews who are actually having discussions. And if you're pseudo-intellectual, I'm going to spot you. I'm still going to take the information. And then I'm going to leave you alone. And luckily, I can consume your information and make fun of you through YouTube and not have anything to do with you. Same thing goes with spiritual bypassers. So they're all needed, all 8 billion people and growing, which is why... Again, thanks, Robert Spolsky. Determined. I know who's coming to IHP. I've made it my mission to let you know this is all about Maria. Be yourself. That's what I am being right now. Here you go, tarantula. This makes me think of Home Alone. Does anybody remember Home Alone with Marv? And yes, what's his face? When the tarantula goes on him and Marv gets to hit Harry with the crowbar, which in real life that would have brought him to death. We know this because he cracked a rib, and that ain't funny, and I'm not joking. So luckily movies are movies, and there are people who don't want to watch those movies because as children they're grounded in reality and like that can actually happen. But then there's people like me, so I don't want to watch horror movies. I have nightmares, but that's not real. My imagination, I'm a mystic. Luckily for me, I grew up with God, and no Lucifer. So after I became a mystic, because I had already said, hey God, so I saw cowards, I didn't see the monster. And I continue to not see the monster. By the time I get to become a mystic, I'm like, oh, look, energetic imprint. So as an Akashic record reader, I've seen a bazillion things as a person who knows all about my past lives. The first download I got, it was 3. Amazing downloads. And let me finish so that we can conclude in a minute or two our episode. We'll be back with more stories. But you move out of karma and into dharma consistently, and when the tarantula makes its way to you, so the moving out of the karma into the dharma, we have the phoenix, okay? We got the phoenix with the body, mind, heart, self. Hopefully that's all been made clear. So your emotional body is not disconnected. Please, again, remember the other episode. I'm sure some people, if they want, they'll take all of that out of context and stuff like that. But it happens, and I'm not perfect. I take and make fun of people all the time. We all contribute to something. So does it make me happy that fear exists? Yes, if I didn't have fear, I wouldn't be able to protect myself. Thank you, nervous system. And there you go, I breathed. And I'm still breathing. Let's make the world a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are children dying. If you care enough of the living and people and animals and the ocean and the earth and if everyone was truly brilliant, unlike the ones who are not. Don't worry, my loved ones. All of you watching, again, God keeps chiming in. So we're all physically safe, and I'm grounded in reality. Thanks, Sam Harris. Dark matter, dark energy. Please don't implode. Please don't implode. Please don't. Neil deGrasse, we need more of you. You need to keep on doing stuff with the world. You know, the Earth is round. I'm pretty sure the flat earthers found a way to contest what you presented to them as data, because you know how they work. I make sense to me, they make sense to them. I mean, you name it. Everyone keeps thinking Lucifer's somewhere. No, not everyone, just the ones who don't know how to handle a tarantula. So when the tarantula makes its way to you, meaning that life brings you to a crossroads, habits or routines from the past that sidetrack you from your life's purpose, your dreams, your inner balance and well-being. You pay attention to the inner growth voice inside you, your higher wisdom that reminds you to refocus your attention, to continue pursuing inner balance, your state of eustress, and you get to choose to follow dharma instead of karma. You say yes to healthy self-soothing habits and mindset. You don't hesitate or over-intellectualize or get on your case about it. You understand we all have a siren and or siren moments, however you want to pose it. It's not the other people who are sirens. Again, I have bad habits just as much as anybody else does. You rise from the ashes. Little nudges. Life gives you little nudges. Don't give you big nudges. If you got a big nudge, you get it one time. By the second time, my facade friend, you got a second time. By the third time, it's done. You've committed to your choice. And if it's a choice with a broken heart, it's okay. That's why our fearful brothers and sisters make fun of the invincible emotional people. Try rocking my foundation. You won't succeed because you won't. Because you can't break a heart. It's a muscle. I was a kid when I noticed that. And it's called small attachment wounds that you take ownership of and not big enough to do any kind of... He even goes on to say psychological damage. I'm like, dude, you really stop getting all fancy with your mouth and go get therapy. But he's not going to. Nor is the fancy woman who says it's dangerous to have no emotions. Nor is the Zen master who says it's impossible to be enlightened. And I think, wow, because you got laundry, I don't got laundry. No, then again, I do got laundry, but it's not this laundry. I mean, sadness releases all of it when it's healthy, not when it's ruminating. Rumination is actually quite visible when you are not a proactive person. So here's where, with my 8 being held back in any way, not held back. You know why? God gave me 2 hands and 2 feet. Miracle of life. But I'm pro-choice, by the way, because I don't tell you to have to believe in God. And I am a messenger, but I'm not going to impose upon you faith, because faith isn't imposable. So the scientists I'm going to respect. It's called love, accept, and respect. And actually, God comes through the heart. The co-author of a book with another amazing 8 spiritual authors. The ways to God are many, and it doesn't involve you having to be spiritual. That's why I'm Woo Pseudoscience. The science is people. There's one in particular I'm watching, amazing, as he explains to both sciences and spirituality that which is pure intelligence, that which is creation, and I'm just amazed by what I'm hearing from him, because I'm like, hey dude, I'm welcoming you, because I know science and spirituality are like this. We're 2 peas in a pod. Because spirituality already had shared with me who wins. It's love. Fear's there for the bears and the animals because our ancestors looked in caves and made up shit. Now they still follow around Wendy's and, Lucifers and all that. No, excuse me, not Lucifer. Sorry, Lucifer, I didn't mean to offend you. I know, those emotionally unavailable people, right? You'd think that they would really know where you came from, because I can only imagine way back when. Did you know that Hippocrates told all of the people, he's a father of medicine, right? Neil deGrasse, I get confused with data, but it's a documentary, a good one with him. And he explains how Hippocrates, or however he pronounced his name, said, when we understand what epilepsy is, they didn't have a word for it yet, we'll know it's not the wrath of the gods. Today, I'm like, yeah, Patrick McNamara proves there's no Lucifer demons in anyone. There's states of self and fragmentation. People don't go to therapy when they lose moments of time and think their brain is fine. And nope, their fear receptors going wonky and they lose moments of time, which is really dangerous because their window tolerance shot up the roof and they don't know how to regulate. Hey, Pat Ogden, what's up? Yeah, I know shit gets not metabolized, but hey, they don't want to pay attention to you. What can I say? So when you see people who actually are not growing more amazing by the minute, meaning compassion and loving, you know why. There are plenty of desperate, bitter men and women out there, and days I don't know them, but when I have the bitter, desperate women and I dream of them, I'm not going to tell you about those. Those are nightmares. But luckily for me, I know God, and there's no Lucifer, like I said. So when I'm getting a nightmare, you know what I do? One, I say, okay, it's not mine, but since I am a mystic, and since it is my oversoul, and since that means every single one of those people out there. Hold on a minute, let me finish, because this, I got a story for you. Thanks, Sadhguru. Love you, man. Sadhguru in his inner engineering course, and then Shambhavi Kriya, and then I also did the Grace of Yoga, amazing all of it. But in one of them, I think it was Shambhavi Kriya, we got a man who argues 3 times. He says, Sadhguru, it's not my responsibility that the lady fell on the floor. This is one of those brilliant minds who is in a destructive mode, because adaptive child part people, it's not a losing strategy. They're just using half a brain. The left mode that thinks they're brilliant keeps moving forward, and then their traumatized brain, which means their child parts, come up with their shame, blame, fault, revenge, and any of that, which is very unnecessary, uncool business. Because, come on, don't you know how to share? If you're a man and an old lady's on the floor, you can pick her up. I mean, in Madagascar, they still help the old lady, even though she beats up whatever the lion's name is. I mean, she's always getting on his, oh, what's his face? Damn it, I forgot his name. But Madagascar, the lion. I'm sure it'll come to me once we're done. So, in the meantime, you set your eyes on saying yes to healthy self-soothing habits and mindset. You don't hesitate or over-intellectualize or get on your case about it. Remember, again, we all have siren moments, so that happens to everyone. We move back into our lover. That way, your higher potential. In fact, the Lover's card has nothing to do with twin flames per se at the beginning of the journey of tarot. It has everything to do with elevating to a higher potential of you. And then it also moves into more. But that's the part of where I know the 5D collective isn't hooked on a story. We're not hooked on, if you're in love with me, I can't help this feeling deep inside of me. Girl, you just don't realize, or boy, are they, what we do to ourselves as securely attached, self-led people, only when the rhythm wants to sway. So open-hearted people are consistent, contingent communicators. They welcome each other with kindness and gentle touch, always, not just sometimes. They don't do withdrawal. They don't do evasion. They don't do let me treat you with a cold shoulder. They don't do any of that. And if they do, that's why one therapy, good for all couples, FYI, the good ones. And that's because some people will, like I told you, pretend they are fine because they don't notice, because they don't want to. It's to hurt people, don't have to hurt people. Trauma charges and people with trauma don't have to continue leading on. If they want, that's their choice. You don't have to. So when people say, but no, I don't want therapy. Well, I'm a person who's serious about business. So when I say yes, it's commitment. And when I am common sense, which I am, I know therapy. That's it. It's not a option. It's a condition, as Terrio points out, conditions. And in this case, he's right. And again, all the smart therapists are right, because I see people thinking that they're brilliant when they're not. And they actually have no interest in getting out of their exiles, protectors, shadow, because fancy man thinks he's great and dandy. As he says, there's no emotional, invincible people out there. Yes, there are. You don't know because you're not a securely attached human being with an integrated brain, with a restorative, embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating life, because you chose not to get it. This is why I get to hear your shorts about how men won't text me back because of a lot of things, or because, once they fuck you, remember what not to think about. Thanks, fancy women and men in suits. Your starfish keeps looking brighter and brighter. I'm so fond of you. Keep being successful, because I know that God is benevolent to all his children. He's going to make them think they're good. Also because, distraction. Anybody remember The Gladiator? Yeah, I remember that movie. Smart people know exactly what's going on all the time, not just sometimes. It's because we're integrated brains. Restorative, embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating people. We don't have an agenda that is one focus. It's a big picture. But then again, I'm an 8. So I see big picture. I'm also proactive. Don't hold me back. And I do know how to ignore those who are pseudo-intellectuals and bullshit stories. But I hear them so that we can make fun of them and be nice. Remember, it's a playground. Nobody needs to protect anything from anyone, because there's no energy vampires. When I've had people in my energy sphere, really? People who think there's black magic, yeah, no, can't touch this. No. It's a very sad. There's another song that wants to come through. So the balance that life allows you to maintain is the fact that you get to choose to be your lover. So you say yes to infinite higher human consciousness potential experience. You say yes to the tarantula. Thank you so much for coming into my life. And you involve that lovely lion, tiger, no bears, no. We got our lovely deer combo, which is you choosing to have mental, emotion, physical mastery of yourself thanks to mindfulness practices with mindset skills and the inner growth mindset, because you are one of the securely attached self-led people who are strong, brave, and you bring change for the better because we embody intelligence, expand consciousness and self. And so into the world you go as a healthy self-worth human being who's an integrated brain, who doesn't treat other people like pieces of shit when their exiles protectors come up, because we don't have to, because we're all brothers and sisters. And as Sadhguru points out, he has a nice quote today. Let me see if I can find it. Today, it is more important than ever to raise human consciousness so that technology becomes a means of empowerment, not destruction. And it will. Also, he shares, if you are a piece of creation, the Creator is definitely embedded within you, like Jesus who shares the kingdom of God is within us. You just have to turn inward to know. No, you don't just have to. You're going to want to get all those domains integrated, your child parts. And so we will share lovely Bezel van der Kolk. Psychotherapy is about people finding a way of getting along with their own internal system. And then we also have Ruth Lanius. It's really important that we ask people about their attachment relationships and incorporate that into the symptoms we see. So when a person has a good therapist, it's not your parents did the best they can. It's let's find out, what are you bringing up? That's from your childhood. That's your first 3 years of life. That's your first 8. That is your first 16. And let's allow ourselves with healthy self-worth, which is why partner the therapist like a terrestrial, because again, it's physiological. It's not something that is controlled, and it's not something that you beat because it's not a enemy. Exiles, protectors, and any type of maladaptive pattern is the way that a person will have learned to deal with pain, shame, trauma. Okay, so anger, shutdown, perfectionism, the inner outer critic, a bunch of things and more. Let me see if there's anything else that I want to share from our lovely quotes. You won't be a piece of creation, and you won't know it, the piece of creation that you are, as long as you are not a securely attached, self-led, non-traumatized, restorative, embodied, self-aware, accountable, and regulating person, whether you're mystic, spiritual, or mindful. And that's why, as a 5D mystic, spiritual, self-help, mindful mentor, content creator, podcast host, I bring spiritual and science, that human voice. And I'm pseudoscience woo lady, but again, I bring it all in, and I'm not teaching you about these subject matters. No, I am here sharing with you my story so you can understand I am just as imperfect and flawed, but I have integrity. And that's because I'm Maria, and I'm a little self-agent with a little fearful butthole who's a coward to a T. You better not come near me with your hands. I'm going to run away. What I'm trying to say is, when people want to say, oh, what are you, Miss Whatever? No, because I can be just as bad, meaning hurt someone's feelings without meaning to. I can actually run away because I'll be scared. I know this because I know it. I mean, the only idiots who don't know this are the ones who don't understand. I'm not ashamed of my body. So the last story, one of the very many therapists I learned from, as they tell me that they get with a colleague of theirs who had just battled and gotten healthy from cancer, they get mugged in Central Park. One of the ones who's telling the story, chases the mugger, grabs the stuff. The other one got a freeze response, so they froze. And they didn't let it go. They were so upset and ashamed of themselves. They got cancer again, and the therapist is saying, my hypothesis is not a fact, it's just the hypothesis. And when, as a Reiki practitioner and a person who knows of the, again, 7 energy bodies, emotional body, all that stuff, trauma charges are stored, again, within you. When you cry, it's good if it's a good cry. So there's a lot of ways I can bring you stuff that I'm not going to. This is the part of why I know that, to me, science is important. And then these types of conversations are for our community. Once we're building, Maria has tiers, paid subscribers, community who does mentorship. Why? Because now we are in a relationship, not free content that gets taken out of context, which is, again, I'm sure I do the same, because if I'm taking a 1-minute short, I'm doing the same. However, I'm looking at the big picture of these individuals. And so I know which group. There's one group, 3D, 4D. I got told they were going to stick around. I didn't think they would. They don't want this. And it's not because we won't be around them. They won't want to be around our ventral energy because they are going to be the same bird with the broken wing who go back to Diego's family. That's the part. It ain't a fucking Lucifer. It's a person who allows themselves to be treated like a little piece of shit. I'm going to allow myself to leave it alone right now, because when you see it happen consistently, like I said, if you're a person that's still here at 54 minutes, you got therapy, or you're great and happy with people, awesome. Like I said before, if you have any kind of partnership, Terry Rio, you're awesome, man. Why? Because why not? So people who take care of themselves, they do it for themselves. I wake up energized every morning. I'm not sluggish. If I actually am sluggish, I will, and I don't want to be. That's why I take care of my health. And so when you have inconsistent people, it's very clear, because if I am not taking care of my teeth and my gums and my face and my back and my all basics, which you find out from a Patrick Chan that children in an unkept environment don't learn basics. I got taught basics, but I also heard without being a spiteful teenager, because I noticed the grown-ups were right about everything and the children were all cowards. But I wasn't a coward because I didn't hide. I just demanded respect. And when it wasn't, I didn't get pushier. I said, you're out, you're out, you're out, you're out, you're out. No, I didn't point. It's bad manners. Nope, 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 nope. Yes, yes. And that was it. And then I moved into that's it. Maria picks her herd because, again, as the 8, I won't be held back. Teenage boyfriend. It's the 4th year. Finally, he makes up his mind. He freed me. And when someone says, oh, they wish they would have stayed with their teenage whatever, I just think, no, because I got to learn all about how to be an emotionally mature person. Now, if somebody has that, great. But you know what I'm going to wonder? Do you spot when you got a person who has dramatic shit going on? I meet teenagers. They're still annoyingly, all of them that I've met so far, the same as the teenagers that I met, which was that they spite the grown-ups and they don't notice that the grown-ups know some things and that they're doing shit that's irresponsible, not safe, not good, not this, not this. And then you're talking to me like I'm some weirdo. I'm not a weirdo, and people aren't fucked up. They're actively choosing to stay with their shit so that they can long for their drama in their brains. And again, I'm gonna wrap it up. So the long story short is there's no brilliancy in destructive mode, and the people who think so are the same ones who won't be here, but we will be fine with any of them. I have fun with all my friends, and that's because I don't have any of them actually impeding in my day-to-day life, because I'm mentally, emotionally, and physically mature, and I know exactly how to make bread, and I know how to use 2 hands and 2 feet, and thank goodness I know how to be securely attached. I'm unshakable. Lovely people who are not securely attached, because emotions, invincible. Sure, I'll let you know how elite we are. It's called the flow state. Neuroscientists will tell you all about how it's not superhuman. It's part of your human makeup, which was one of the first downloads I got when I got to be opened up to clairs. And people say, not everyone can be it. Oh, really? Do you want to be a special team? Oh, do you think you're anointed? Oh, you think you're forgave? Did you do something more? This is when I begin to get into my little quote unquote butthole, because I can't actually deal with, and there's a reason for it from one of my personality stuff. It's funny actually, because I as I read through some of them, I have to say they come up. But I'm going to leave it alone. However, what I remember reading was when someone is not able to present themselves with integrity, I'll just bring it this way. I'm more like, okay, what's the deal? But that's the part of where, as you grow up, you become aware. The deal is that people are not all going to begin with secure attachment. Then they're not going to all keep their secure attachment. The ones of us who do find it very boring to meet buffoons and clowns. So the destructive mode is not a destructive mode. And our earth will be fine, because I am of spirit, again, bringing science in. And science tells you all about how we can help our planet. So in both equations, it's going to be a great world. And those who think we're being optimists, again, we're not being optimists. No, we're the ones who actually know everything's possible. So while those who are afraid of doing that which is the common sense thing, we're not. And that's why the therapist who shared the story, when she's sharing, I would not be pissed at my body, and somebody would try to shame me about being who I am. One day I'm great. One day you make fun of me. One day I'm great. One day you make fun of me. One day I'm great. What's new? Oh, what? Now you're pissed at me? Which one of the words are you going to come to tell me today? That I'm egoic, that I'm selfish, that I'm an asshole, that I'm an idiot? How many different ways can somebody quote unquote insult a person? Do you notice? Anyone? I'm not flinching. You know why? Because again, as a kid, when it's not personal. Why would I close my heart? You're being unkind to me. I'm asking you to be kind. I can't prove intent. Now I have big grown-up words. Effective realism. It's a bullshit word to me. I spotted it the minute my teenage boyfriend's arguing with me about, you don't believe in God because he's real. You're afraid of death. I don't want to die. It's different. And then I didn't say the thing that I could. It's his face. If you're trigger alert, fast forward. He had not only the little tail in his own home, his first serious relationship cheated on him with his BFFF. Irony, huh? His close friend killed himself, threw himself off a roof. And as my catechist pointed out, people turn their back on God because shit happens. And that's exactly what it was. If I had presented that to him, that would be putting a finger in a wound. It would be a very petty and not really, I'm going to say there's no integrity in that. It's a bullshit thing to do. Cowards, it's a bullshit thing to be a clown. You see, this clown doesn't make me think, oh wow, you just used some sword. No, if you have self-worth and acceptance and understanding of who you are with the way that is of, again, a 16-year-old, I don't need to flinch. And I won't be using what is hurtful against you because that's petty. I will automatically know that that's petty, and I would not want to be ashamed of myself. So this is the part of self-serving. Yeah, you can tell me I'm self-serving. I can bring it all the way around and notice, why would I do anything that I don't want to be done to me, and why would I do it in a small energy? And to close it on up, when I had this one dream, I'll never forget, as I'm apologizing in the dream and the person knows why I'm doing what I'm doing, and I'm like, no, it's not justified. And it was with that true repenting. So when you are, I'm sorry, the shame, it's not the word that you need. It's here where you, if you're a person who has the regular brain, okay, because this is in the sense of neurotypical, you're producing all those chemistries in the sense of that, okay? So when we have a chemistry that is different, and I'm explaining it because when we look up the psychopathy spectrum, here's where I got it explained in words that I don't remember. So that's where I know that today we don't say regular or not regular anymore. But what I'm saying is, when you have the average stuff that produces in your body and your brain, that's why I'm the woo pseudoscience. Again, we're like, she's all idiot. No, anybody who's learned enough about neuroscience will know what I'm talking about. So the lady's explaining the spectrum of psychopathy. It's not imagination. They have data, and I understand it. I just don't remember how to explain it all. And so there's a very specific chemistry or whatever that's not produced. And so the brain actively doesn't perceive something, which is why I can understand, because I don't know shame. As a child, I'm a functional child adult. So you can try shaming me. Keep talking. My stare is going to be like, and then I have to put up with, are you trying to insult me? No, I'm just like, I think we can agree to disagree right now. I'm just thinking I want to go away because you're so much boring right now. That's how it feels when you're around people who have low self-esteem and egos and they don't go to therapy. And really, it's like, how many years do I have to grow up to get older and meet them? Okay, but my point was that I can understand how not feeling something. Why don't other people understand when we are happy and loving it? So this is where I got the continuous, people don't think some of us can do emotions from our prefrontal. So I'm going to bring it to you. So with the average production of all that stuff, you'll be able to perceive and feel empathy, and your amygdala will be alerted the same way, and while some will not. That was my point. And when you explain it technically, it's not imagination, it's an explanation. You don't like it, so you use lack of imagination for evil. You're an idiot. You're an idiot who's brilliantly not speaking shit for me. You are pseudo-intellectual to the ones who want to follow you and actually allow themselves to be in their hissy fit, which means they're not going to do anything tomorrow, because it ain't how hard you hit, it's how hard you can get hit and keep it. You're not going to get up eventually, because that drama is going to drain you. So here's where I was watching another video with Nutshell Lady, how to get out of bad habits that lead people to be in depression. Okay, so proactive people don't talk about their shit in a way of making it sound like a pain point needs to be dragged around. And that's our two groups. So at the end of the day, thanks for sticking around. And to the lovely listeners on the audio, again, you can check out the other video if you want on YouTube alone. And in fact, YouTube is where you'll also find the shorts, the 3-minute shorts. On Instagram, there's only some of the 1-minute shorts, and then there's pictures. In the meantime, like I said, those who are smart enough and know enough information from neuroscience to neurobiology to mental health know what I'm talking about when it comes to this spectrum. And when I hear idiots using words like lack of imagination for evil, it's like, dude, seriously, you're an intellectual. What the fuck are you doing with that? I mean, I would be ashamed of myself using that combination. What kind of a play with words it is? But that's because I'm a conscious brain who's being consistent. And an idiot is not inconsistent when they're being spiteful and when they're... So this is that difference, is that it's not even necessarily spite. It's that in your visceral, you can't handle that there are some people out there, or wait, excuse me, it's not true. You don't know what it's like. You don't know what it's like to be the bad, nah, da, 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 da. So when people don't know what it's like to know how to be securely attached, self-led, open-hearted, an actual human being who knows, yeah, I'm vulnerable. What are you going to do about it? How many different ways do you want to try insulting me today? Because really, your mood swings are nothing more than a Cusco hand. By the time you're done learning all the Cusco hands, I'm 45, I've seen enough of them. By the time I'm 20, that's why I don't flinch. I don't even notice when someone's in their ego like that, because I'm not in the presence of a physical threat. They're not even emotionally alerting me to their envy or jealousy or spite, because I just perceive the poor little child in there, and their exiles and protectors don't mean anything to me because I saw it all by the time I was 11, 12, 13, 14. Again, what are you coming up with today, Cusco? Because you don't have any new shit to come up with except for the same effective realism that cognitive dissonance and structurally dissociated people bring to you in the presence of common sense people, bountiful. The ones who are going to be here, going to be the ones who take healing trauma seriously, are not sensitive to words, and don't make a big deal out of imperfections again. But like I said, there are some things. So the video was really good. I just missed. I thought I said something with the words, and so I was like, I need to make another episode, which I'm happy I did. So thanks for stopping by, because for my listeners, I do enjoy giving you a bit of longer episodes and chit chat as we used to do. That's why we started again. And I know that we have some new audio series alone, but I haven't gotten another one rolling out yet. Meantime, thanks for stopping by again. Have a great one.